Studio. We're coming to you live from the Melbourne Italian Festa, and you can probably hear it's getting louder and louder in the piazza here in the heart of Little Italy in Lygon Street, Carlton. Having a ball today, and it's my pleasure here today to introduce you to someone who is responsible for something that's probably been hardening my arteries for a very long time. This is Luca Giano, and he represents Parma
ham, prosciutto di Parma.
I can't ever say it like that.
I'm a man of many hats, let me show up. I look after a lot of good things, but today we're here in Melbourne for the beautiful Italian Festa, and I'm here on behalf of the consortium of prosciutto di Parma. I'm talking about prosciutto, how it's made, where it comes from, why it's different from that one and that one, and stick it in people's mouth to get the ultimate experience. And
So where's my prosciutto?
Very, very true. All of a sudden, I'm like, what I get? I haven't rocked out with we're doing beautiful cones with grissini. So if I can can you go and get a cone of prosciutto, please?
Yeah, come on now. We need some
Just tell him
prosciutto.
it's for Luca, and then charge you double.
Fantastic. Because there is something very special about Italian prosciutto. We've been trying in Australia. I know we've got some amazing small good manufacturers here.
100%. As a matter of fact, not only I know them, I work with them. I am so supportive about the local industry, as I should as a chef. I've been in Australia for 20 years, so I know most of them. But when it comes to prosciutto, for me the discussion, when I did the demo before, is not about telling them, eat prosciutto di Parma, don't eat the other, it's not good or whatsoever. It's about showcasing what has been done for a hell of a lot of many years back home. The procedure, the pigs utilized for the production of prosciutto di Parma, they get to drink the way left over from the production of Parmigiano Reggiano. I'll just give you one thing. There's so many other things, but
Do they get drunk on it?
probably they will. I think they're gonna get high on Parmigiano Reggiano's way left over. But I think there's certain steps that it's got nothing to do with people here not making it just as good or not. It's just
just different.
The feed for the pig and the way that it's raised and the size of it. There's so many different rules and regulation, and it changes the flavor profile. So I think what we do here it's outstanding, but I don't like to compare it.
Oh look, and
Oh,
here's
thank you
what
very
we
much.
prepared earlier.
It is not for me. It is for the young lady.
Oh, thank you.
It's a bit of a little sample
Look
of
at this.
prosciutto di Parma.
I have never seen prosciutto presented this way.
Why not? And that's an 18 months old prosciutto. And like I was saying, it's not about, prosciutto di Parma is better than this or that one. There's other amazing producer making amazing stuff. But when it generally comes to prosciutto di Parma, gluten-free, 100% natural, it's put in your mouth and
I'm
tell
about
me
to
your
put
name.
this in my mouth, which may mean I'm unable to talk for a little while, which I know my friends who know me will find quite astounding.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I know that this guy can also talk.
I think I can.
So while I'm trying this amazing DOC-ish,
Yeah, DOP on on that one.
that
It's a
pizza
DOP.
pig?
It's a designated protected of origin, so it means that it can only be produced within the region of Emilia Romagna.
Awesome. While it's talking, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, the whole denomination, of course, is to protect and make sure that beginning to end, all the rules are being respected by the consortium. So the consortium, for people that don't know, is the entity that regulates the whole production. So it's a bunch of producers that 50 odd years ago, they got together, sat down, they say, hey, which is weird for Italians, right? They got to agree instead of spotting each other and say, hey, why don't we come up with rules and regulation? So we're on the same page. The region only can make it. These are the pigs we're going to use. This is what they're going to eat, and this is how we're going to make it. And eventually, believe it or not, Italians got along for once. And the process started, and now it is the #1 prosciutto sold away from Italy across the board.
And it's all about, when you think about Italian food, it's about connection, isn't it? It's about sitting down and whatever differences there may have been, they've gone because you've got the food.
It will always bring the worst enemies together at the table with something like that, and they're gonna walk away as good friends.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about Italian food, right? And what a better setting we here live on the street. The heart of every time I'm based in Sydney, every time I come to Melbourne, I don't know, it's like I gotta come around here. You still get, there is a lot of old school, which sometimes
Speaking of old school, I don't know if you guys can hear this music.
It's kind of stuck back in the 50s, 60s, and I'm a little bit over that. From day one that I came in Australia 20 years ago, and still listening, and I'm like, oh my god, the clock has stopped like 50 years ago. So Italy's got a bit more updated music, guys. Check it out.
So we're talking about ways that we can create more Italian culture here in the Italian heart of Melbourne. Would that be your hot tip?
Look, I think that's my analysis, right? As an Italian born and raised, I was born and raised in Milan, been in Australia on and off for 20 years. So the biggest things that I've noticed Melbourne, Sydney, everywhere else, of course, they came out after the Second World War. They brought the culture, but of course they brought the culture from back then. Then the kids here grew up very proud being Italian, extremely proud. That's amazing, right? But they've also grew up with the dialect from the parents, and they actually don't speak Italian, they speak the family's dialect, which is remarkable. But for me, as an Italian born and raised coming here, and I hear Australian-born Italian or Australian-Italian-born Australian, whatever you call it, speaking not Italian, like, you're not Italian, like, I'm Italian, I speak the language, we don't speak the language. So the conflict was there when I was coming meeting some of these guys, but it's beautiful because they've been embracing their family heritage, and it's beautiful. But someone like me coming fresh at the age of 23, I'm like, what are we talking about? Like,
where are we? What is this place?
Yeah, like you guys are stuck like when my mom was a kid, you know? So I found that differences. So I think part of that, it's awesome because if you go back to Italy, you're not finding it, it's gone. So the fact that they are maintaining some level of tradition, I think, is priceless. But then well, I'm not that young anymore. I was 23, I've got 20 years on top. But I think it's awesome to find it. But I think I'd like to see a bit more renewed Italian approach. I'd like not people just to go to Italy and say, oh, I ate this, I've tried that. I think we should introduce probably a bit more of a modern approach to Italian gastronomy, Italian culture.
And
so
maybe some modern music.
And maybe a little bit of modern music. That wouldn't hurt either. You know, we've got people, artists from even a decade ago would be a way more updated than today.
Well, you know, we've had the organisers of from the Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and had some fairly powerful Italians sit in this hot seat today. So I think that, these messages are going to get through to everybody.
I think I just got myself in trouble. Is that what you're trying to say? I think I got in trouble.
Not in trouble. No, what I would say is that this is the ideas factory here, everything's open, right? And I think if we're going to actually create a vibrant Italian heart in Melbourne, whether it's bringing it back to what it was or whether it's something new, it takes new ideas.
I think it should be something in between the two, right? Something that, it's like my job. I've been serving myself as a chef ambassador of Italian gastronomy since the day I left home, which was 24 years ago. It's about bringing the culture, the authenticity of it, and I use food as a vehicle to be able to do so, right? And I think we got this opportunity. In Melbourne, I find, we got the equivalent like Australia's North Street in Sydney, in Leichhardt. I think there's actually more Italianness here. Today I thought about that one earlier today. The amount of Italians here in Melbourne, I think, are greater in numbers. I might be wrong. So
proud Italians.
But yeah, there's I find probably a more genuine Italian stamp of Melbourne against Sydney. And I'm surprised how many Italians, not like people that were born here 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. So credit to Melbourne, it really made me feel at home today. Not with that music, that's not what brings me home. It's talking to the younger crowds, there's a lot of young kids in their mid-20s that left Italy 50 years ago, they're here. So interacting with that was amazing. But also talking with the older generation as well, which they don't have the knowledge of prosciutto that I was working today. And even talking to the old nonna about prosciutto, because they know it as prosciutto, which for someone like me is too generic. We need to break it down. I need to tell you more about it. I need to get you hooked on how good it tastes, and you know what I mean.
This tasted amazing. It just melted in my mouth, and it didn't have any of that harsh, salty aftertaste that you can get with a lot of prosciutto. It was very gentle. It's absolutely delicious. So you can get this here at the Festa tonight?
Yeah, we got a little stand. The whole idea, we're here on Bianca, so we're not here, to make money. We're here to get the product on people's mouth, spread education, to empower people once they understand what this is. Wendy.
Hello, Chopper.
I'm sure everybody can hear it.
Yeah.
Wait for a second.
That's right. There's someone's pulling into the Royal Melbourne Hospital. I hope they're okay. So come on down. We're here at Argyle Square in the heart of Little Italy in Lygon Street, Carlton. The Melbourne Italian Festa is going until 8 p.m. tonight. There'll be lots of old school Italian music going on over there. Unless Mr. DJ here comes in and takes over.
We'll go dancing. I can't make right. We'll go dancing.
Of course, so long as he keeps supplying me with the mama, we'll be fine. So thank you for joining us, and we will be, who knows who I will find next with a beautiful Italian heart who will talk to me here live at the Melbourne Italian Festa. We'll see you soon. Ciao.